even though
they look good. I mean, they lost. Now Detroit's banged up. So are the Packers. Jair Alexander.
I think if Jair was there, they win.
Yeah,
and if they get any of the calls their way, they win.
Yeah, Goff was getting. I mean, he played well, but guys were open with Alexander. That's not the case. I'm the same. I mean, I'm the same. I think Detroit's better. I think Philly might be better, certainly more talented. But the gap between them and the Packers is not enough where the Packers can't upset them in the playoffs. When we made our preseason picks, I don't know if we picked division.
We did.
Okay, I think I picked Detroit to win the division.
I think you did too, actually.
Yeah, so I didn't. I have not sat on here all season and said Green Bay's the best team in the NFC. But I think they're good enough to pull off an upset and some multiple upsets in the playoffs. And it'll take multiple.
So that's the worry.
But last year look.
They crushed Dallas and they had San Francisco.
And in addition to, they're a balanced team. The defense is good. It's not awesome, but it's good. Offensively, you got J-Lo, who I really like. The receivers are good. The running game is they got a good balanced team. All right. But you know what else I like about them? They are mentally tough. For them, they were the youngest team last year in the playoffs in 50 years.
Yep.
To go to Dallas, which it won 12 games, and at that point, people are thinking is a contender, 16 in a row at home, and crushed them, and then have, like you said, the Niners, who were everybody's picking in the NFC, on the ropes. This team is mentally tough. So in a one-and-done playoff format, they can get Detroit. And again, you said it yesterday. You're probably right. Is there any proof that it's tough to beat a team 3 times in a season? Yeah. Maybe not, but it feels like it's tough. So I think, I feel good about it.
I agree with you that one and done, they can beat anyone. I don't think they can win 3 straight road games, which is now the position they're going to be in. So, but let me give Green Bay credit for a moment. People got mad at me. Some things I've said about Jared Goff might seem a little unfair. Some things I think are fair when I say the civilian. And there was a play. Now, you said yesterday definitively Jordan Love's the best quarterback in the NFC. I don't know that I actually believe Jordan Love is right now better than Jared Goff. No. But he is more talented. Right. And so he has a chance.
He can be more than a civilian.
Exactly right. And so there was a play last night that when I thought the Packers, they're going to win. I thought this was going to be the play of the game.
Great play.
And when I saw that, to me, I was thinking about it in the context of that's why having a non-civilian at quarterback can be the difference. Can there be 1 or 2 plays a game where someone else screws up, the other team executes perfectly, and he's like, don't worry about it. I got it. And that's just really hard for everyone but 6 or 7 human beings alive to do. And the Packers have a guy who can do that. Now, I don't know that his mistakes are so much more prevalent than some of the other guys. He's young. There's all these things. So I do think the Packers can beat anyone. I just think the path is too hard now. Had they won last night, man, that was tough. If they were playing the Chiefs, the narrative is, man, there were 5 very questionable calls that all went against them. They needed a field goal at the end. We don't do that to the Lions. We don't do that to anyone except the Chiefs, so that's fine. But they played well enough to win last night. And so I do think they could go back there and win in the playoffs. But then the next week, can they go to Philadelphia? If the previous week they had to go to Tampa, the road is just.
That's what would help them if they do get a Tampa or whoever wins the NFC West, which won't be easy, but in the first round.
Right now, the problem with that is if they get whoever wins the NFC West, that team's probably going to be hot at that time.
Okay. Listen, I'm not going to try to predict whether or not the Packers are capable of, winning a game on the, games on the road in the playoffs. That becomes too theoretical. I'm all for the fun thought experiments and trying to predict the future and figure stuff out, but to try to put a cap on whether or not if this team can win on the road multiple times in the playoffs, I think that's, I think kind of settle down with that. I think what Jordan Love, showed in that game, again, Colin pointed it out so perfectly. I'm really happy he did, where he's like, Jordan Love has less starts than Mac Jones. And that really puts things in perspective. This is a young quarterback who is still developing. And his first year was him being developed. And he really got some amazing momentum. And then this season really kind of got derailed because of injuries. And that's okay. It's having the understanding of that. I was already fighting with people in the comments where someone was like, oh, Jordan Love's not that good. He only had one good stretch. And people kept saying that this offseason, which I could at least understand why people were saying that, because that is all we had to go off of. But now we continue to see him play. I know it's not perfect, but if you can't see the greatness there, I mean, of course it's there. Jordan Love wasn't a problem in this game. In fact, he showed us how great he can be. Without a doubt, yeah, he had a bad throw or two, but that happens. And they actually didn't even suffer the consequences because of it. Because they ended up getting a touchdown anyway in that drive when he missed that one throw. I think it was to Kraft, I forget. But again, those bizarrely weird, oh my God, anyone can do it. We see those throws be missed all the time by every single quarterback, literally every single quarterback. But when you are a young quarterback like this, it gets magnified. It definitely gets magnified. Whereas the Mahomeses, the Josh Allens of the world, when they miss a throw like that, one, they don't do it often, obviously. And two, if they ever do, they just will, it gets kind of swept under the rug. It's kind of oh, you don't see Mahomes make that bad of a throw that often, or that was out of character for him. And then it just they kind of move on. But then when you actually go back and watch a full season of these quarterbacks play, you're like, oh yeah, Josh Allen made a really bad throw at so-and-so's feet. And ooh, Patrick Mahomes is that interception was who the heck did he think he was throwing to? Lamar Jackson, we just saw versus the Eagles, had a couple really oh my God, what type of throw is that, right? Gardner Minshew makes that throw. So it always exists. But like I said, when you're Jordan Love, and this is your second full year as a starter, it gets magnified because people are trying to figure out, who are you? Are you great? Are you average? Are you good? Are you elite? It gets magnified. But what I think he can do is truly special. To me, and I know they were down, it was the lack of the truth of the threat of the run game. I know they got it going a little bit, but you never really had confidence in it, especially in the beginning of the game. And putting up 7 points in the first half against this injured, depleted Detroit Lions team, I find that indefensible. I do. I believe in Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love together as that duo too much to have that happen. If the Lions were full strength and stuff like that, I could understand it. But they were trying to go for too many big plays early on. You could see them trying to load up, and Jordan Love was being just kind of harassed the whole time, and especially in that first half. Some of their points they were fortunate to get because they, again, you stopped the Lions on fourth down and got obviously incredibly short field position. Their offense clearly got going in the second half, which was great, and you could see what they're capable of doing. But I still want to see, it's and this is what I've now said in almost every Packers video, because it just seems so obvious to me, is Kraft has to be such this focal point. He needs to become the Kelsey and Gronk. It's just so obvious to me because he is just a dude, man. He really is. Having 3 receptions is not enough for me. And he had some big plays when they were. But, they were 1 for 5 on third. They had really bad penalties, at the wrong time, backing themselves up. And it's just I want to see Kraft become that big-bodied security blanket. And this is what I said in my Herd video, where it's I want to see it go between Jordan Love, Kraft, and Jacobs, right? You establish the run, you establish the big-bodied bully tight end, and then now everything else comes out of it. Then you have some of those really big, exciting, deep ball, just whatever type plays. But then they're relying on kind of a flea flicker to kind of get going. And it's no, get that 5-yard completion from Kraft where he gets the ball and then immediately lays on a hit to a defensive player, right? Where you see him get hit and he leaps up. right? Like establish that physicality, establish your own version of bully ball, and then take advantage of Jordan Love's, outrageous arm and abilities, and going for some of these big plays. But to me, this game felt like they were like, we need these big plays to be able to keep up. And obviously, the Lions offense is great, right, without a doubt. But then you saw the defense really step up, and I think the defense did a decent job, kind of containing the run game. There was times when the Lions looked like they were absolutely going to bully the Packers, and it was going to be like, oh man, they're playing bully ball. Like, what is, and Jared Goff was carving them up. But then there was some really key moments that the Packers were like, no, absolutely not. Montgomery, Gibbs, no. And laid on some big hits, tackles for losses, which especially against a team like the Lions, means so much more. Because it kind of signals to the Lions, not today. You may bully these other teams. You may be able to run all day and be physical. We don't care. We're not afraid of that. And that matters in these types of games. It matters in a 34-31 game, a game where you're tied in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. It matters. It absolutely matters. And so I think that was really good. So, I don't lose faith, right? More faith in Packers despite loss. That's a weird way to phrase it. I have the same level of faith in the Packers. The one thing I would say that makes me more nervous, or just, has me just kind of did not think that they were ready for this game. That's what stood out to me more than and missed penalties and all that. That's all fine. I honestly felt from that. Because again, even Matt LaFleur, and I talked about this too, I know that you got to understand what you're doing here. You got to understand what's important. Just be like a smile. Maybe you tell security, hey, this guy's kind of saying so-and-so. I mean, that's obvious. And so it's just like, to me, that kind of screams like you're not focused, or you're nervous, or you're unsettled. Be focused. They did not feel like they understood the assignment, especially in that. They had one first. I mean, it was like a bizarre first half, to the point where you're just like, this is uncomfortable. Like, why does it feel that this Lions defense is like, yeah, we got injuries, we don't care, we are coming for you, and the Packers did not have that answer just yet. And I just think they're too good, with too many great weapons, with too great of a play caller, for something like that to happen. That's kind of where I kind of look at it. They kind of had they're on their back. The completions going, move the chains, milk the clock, let's go. But instead, it was kind of reversed. It's essentially what the Lions did, honestly. And then the Lions, force a quick drive from the Packers. And now the Packers are back on the bench, and Jordan Love's back with a towel on his head, looking off. And now the Lions have another sustained drive, right? The time of possession. So that's why I just would like to see the Packers kind of take a look at that more, and kind of, the game plan itself and the team collectively, rather than the heroics of a few of these players individually. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green this game went. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some here. I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.